Good morning and happy spring. We gather from many rooms and homes, creating together sacred space. Welcome, welcome, and come in.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Congregation of Westchester and our online worship service. My name is Kathy Beatty, and I'm a lay leader of this congregation. Our minister, Reverend Dan Schatz, will be speaking today on carrying the flame. I especially want to welcome any visitors to our online service this morning. We hope we get a chance to get to know you. You can say hello in the comments, and you can go to ucwc.org or send us an email, welcome@ucwc.org. If you'd like more information about our congregation, or if you'd like us to be in touch with you directly, we would love that. Unitarian Universalism holds that great good comes from wide diversity. So, whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your heritage, and from wherever your beliefs spring, we are pleased that you are here. Let us walk a while together. We have a very special announcement today. Immediately following the service, we will all gather on Zoom for an important congregational town hall. After a year's work and building on the wide-ranging and thoughtful comments from our town hall last December, the board has drafted a new mission statement for the congregation. This will be your opportunity to give feedback and make comments before the mission statement is finalized. Our mission is our statement of common purpose, and it's meant to guide all that we do. Visitors and newcomers, you are welcome to join in the town hall to see our congregation in action. And another announcement from Cassie. Both our youth and adults are invited to learn about climate justice. Join us on Monday, March 29th, that's a week from tomorrow, at 7 p.m. for a presentation on Greta Thunberg's book, Our House is on Fire, and a discussion on what the state of our climate is today and how we engage in this work as Unitarian Universalists. RSVP at adult-re@ucwc.org, or just join us that night. And another announcement, on April 18th, we will have our annual poetry service, and we definitely need participants. Our theme this year is connecting with each other through poetry. Congregation members of all ages are invited to read or submit their own poetry or some of their favorite verses. If you or your child would like to participate, please contact Sarah Heisen at poetry@ucwc.org. All poems must be submitted by Sunday, April 11th. And as a reminder, please check connections in our online calendar for announcements and information and how to access our various online events. And now I'd like to introduce our wonderful president, Matt Zencey, who will be giving us a stewardship update.
Hey, there we go. We're making fantastic progress on the stewardship drive. We're 47% of the way there, 47 and change, with about 36% of our pledging units reporting. And it is an amazing testament to how well we are not just surviving the pandemic, but we're thriving during the pandemic. It is a huge tribute to the strength of our community and the kind of commitment that you all are making when you pledge here at UCWC. And when you think about it, we have 200 members and we do an amazing range of things with your support from that membership. We have a minister with 20 years of experience. We have a 3/4 time religious education director, director of lifespan faith development. We have an office administrator to help us with our administrative duties part-time. We have an amazing concert level pianist who performs for us in most of our services. And we have an amazing music director who, I don't know if folks have noticed, but the things that Miriam has been able to do during the pandemic with our virtual music delivered virtually, it is just astounding. I have no idea what the technology is behind all that, but it is a tribute to the quality of the staff that we have and the effort that we make to make this transition. And it's only possible with the support that you give through the stewardship campaign. And as I say, we're off to a great start, 47% of the way to our goal with 36% of in. So thank you very much. We are the kind of liberal religious home that is so badly needed here in our community, in our region, in our country, and in the world. And it's your support that makes it possible. So thank you very much. Yes.
Thanks, Matt. That's wonderful news. Our chalice lighting today is by Elizabeth Harding, a symbol of learning and love. We Unitarian Universalists don't drink from our chalice. Instead, we use it to hold flame. The circle of the chalice helps keep the fire small. The flame doesn't blind us. It doesn't burn us. It gives us light so we can see all the different things in the universe, even the invisible ones, because the Unitarian Universalist flame is a light of learning.
Well, this morning's service is a little bit different. I feel like I say that every week these days. A year ago, it would have been a little bit different just to have a service on YouTube. And in fact, it was. That Sunday, the third Sunday in March, was our first online service. After 2 weeks of almost nightly conference calls with the executive team and constantly changing plans, that Sunday morning, a handful of us gathered in the lobby at the congregation. It's almost like Old Home Week because many of those people are here now. We gathered in the lobby because the empty sanctuary was a little too echoey for live streaming from a phone or a webcam. But Jason was there and played the piano. Matt Zencey was there with a stewardship update. Kathy Beatty helped with the camera. And Eric Sweet said he thought he'd come in and help with the streaming. I sometimes wonder if he regrets that decision because he's been our technical wizard almost every week since. There were no masks yet. We just tried to stay far from each other. And I figured online, on YouTube, maybe a couple dozen people would watch, but then the numbers began to tick up, and people started connecting in the chat, and there was just so much love, and there was so much positivity. I was in tears. It was one of the most powerful spiritual experiences I've ever had, knowing that even when we couldn't be together, we carried the flame together. We created community together. It was astonishingly intimate. And we've repeated that every week for a year now. It will not go on forever, though it will go on a while longer. Every Sunday and in between, we gather online and in spirit to create and recreate a loving community. Every Sunday, our children gather together and create and recreate a loving and learning community. We grow together, we celebrate together, we grieve together, we hope together, and we give to the world together. And here's the thing, it isn't just our congregation. It's been this way in all of our lives, in all of the communities where we live, in our schools, our work, our recreation, our families. And we know this. We've all carried the flame through this year and will keep carrying it as long as it's needed. So many of you have the little votives that our stewardship butterflies brought to all our members, or maybe you have other candles or lights handy. And I'd like to invite you to light those now. And if you don't have one, just light a candle in your mind as we carry the flame together. And together we sing, "This Little Light of Mine."
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
And with our lights shining, I invite you to join in the words of our unison affirmation. We gather aspiring to be a thriving, caring, and welcoming community that supports each person's spiritual journey, embraces diversity, challenges us to live responsibly, and is a catalyst for a just and compassionate world. Well, last spring, when we were freshly locked down, we interviewed candidates to be our next Director of Lifespan Faith Development. And I remember asking one of those candidates, Cassie Langle, how she would handle it if we were still online in the fall. She said, "Well, I've been thinking about that," and proceeded to give us a nice outline of how she might begin to build relationships with our kids and with our families without ever having actually met them, in person. Now, none of us had a clue that it would be like this all year. But Cassie and the rest of the religious education team have done a beautiful job of creating a living, breathing, nurturing, meaningful online religious education program. So I'm especially grateful today for Cassie's work, along with the work of all of our staff, carrying the flame. And here she is with our Time for All Ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Now is the time in our service when we invite our children and youth to join those who have gathered here together as we listen to a very special Time for All Ages message. As always, let's begin with a nice deep breath in. Ready? So today's service is about carrying the flame. And no, I'm not talking about the Olympics. No, this flame is very special. This is the flame of our community, perhaps even the flame we light in our chalices each week. We are the flame, and we bring light and hope and presence to one another. This week marks 1 year since we went into this pandemic, socially distancing in order to care for one another, especially our most vulnerable. This past year, our smiles have hidden behind masks, our hands are chapped from washing, and we've all become pros at using Zoom. For 1 year, we have met in online services, social hours, discussions, and events. There has been sadness and loss and exhaustion this past year, and yet there has also been hope and care and connection in new ways. We have held religious education classes, anti-racism discussions, our auction, a concert, our stewardship drive, service projects, share the plates, our discussions, the bread service, our Christmas pageants, and so much more, all online. We've welcomed new members and friends to our congregation. We've connected even more deeply with one another as we've carried our flame out of our building and into our hearts and into our communities. So there is a Japanese art called kintsugi, which takes broken pottery, bowls, plates, and other things, pieces it back together, and paints the cracks with gold. The idea is not to hide the fact that it was broken, but to show its history, to celebrate imperfection, and to create something new and beautiful. This year, we look back over everything we've experienced this past year. The way we were is broken, and we grieve and we hold one another through that. But we've put ourselves back together again. We've painted our edges with gold and have deepened our community even more. Now, we won't forget where we've been. Those cracks are going to remain with us forever, really. But we are ready to look forward too. We have beauty in our imperfection. We have beauty in our relationships. We have beauty in our joys and sorrows. We are beautiful. We are UCWC.
Thank you, Miriam, for that beautiful improvisation. Thank you, Cassie, for that wonderful time for all ages. So I think it was either our second or our third online service was in honor of Transgender Day of Visibility. And that was the first time we had done an online service with lots of different people in different places. My anxiety level was through the roof, but it was powerful and it worked. And the reason it was powerful was simply that three of our members and friends who are transgender spoke from their hearts. One of those people was Manfred Hatch. He is organizing a panel for this year's Transgender Day of Visibility, which we're hosting on Zoom on March 31st. And I hope that you'll be able to join us and hear some perspectives on everything from spirituality to ethics to the life experiences of members of the transgender community. Manfred is also one of our newer members, and I'm very, very glad to welcome him today for his UCWC moment.
Thank you so much, Dan. My name is Manfred. I have been going to Unitarian services since I was 12 years old, but only very recently did I actually become part of this community. And during the time that I've been here, I have been through a lot. I've been laid off, I've had to move to the city, I've had to get a new job. I've become a cat dad to two lovely cats, and so much more. And during all of that, I've had this congregation to come back to. I find that every Sunday that I see the Unitarian Church streaming, I always click. Because every time I do, I am reminded of this light, this feeling of warmth and positivity that is so important. Because here's the thing, I find it very easy to fall into this mindset that love, community, hope, they can start to feel kind of like hokey or fuzzy or just feel good stuff. But every time I come here, I'm reminded that they're not just words, they're not just feelings, they're very tangible truths. They're for not just me, but for everyone to keep in mind and to practice in their lives, because I believe hope, love, and community are important for just saving this world and for keeping everyone together. And I find that it's not just going to church every Sunday here that makes me feel whole, but it's knowing that I can be heard here. I remember last year when we were all still in person, Dan actually came up to me and asked me if I wanted to be part of our Transgender Day Visibility service. And I was like, absolutely, yes. And I mean, just being asked spoke volumes to me, because I mean, just having just like a pastor kind of come up to me and make me feel important, like not just feel important, but feel heard, that spoke volumes to me. And to actually, like, even after everything hit the fan and we had to do everything online, and that we were still able to do that service, that just spoke volumes to me about how much everyone here is willing to hear everybody else and to have their voices be heard. That is so important. And that's what I love about this congregation. And that even if we're not having the service this year, but that Dan is still, and everyone else here is willing to kind of help. For example, we're having the Transgender Day of Visibility panel here. So even if we're not having the service, we're still having the panel. And Dan is kind of helping me organize that, and other people are helping me organize that. And the fact that we're still able to have something is just, I love that. And that's why I absolutely love this congregation, that through everything that we still find a way to make things work. And that way that we make things work is through love, hope, and community. So I want to thank Dan and everyone here for making that and making this light possible.
Thank you, Manfred. Thank you so much. And thank you for organizing that panel. I hope that people come and join. Well, once a month in our congregation, we share our offering with an organization in the community that serves the needs of our neighbors. And this month, we're supporting the organization that until very recently was called La Comunidad Hispana. Now it is LCH Community Services, and I'm very pleased to welcome Leanne Ryloff to tell us a little bit more. Welcome, Leanne.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the invitation and the warm welcome. We have a new name, LCH Health and Community Services, but the same mission. We just want to make it clear in our name that this is what we do. So we serve Southern Chester County, so the area between Kennett Square and Oxford. And first and foremost, we are a community health center. So we provide primary care. We're basically a medical home for all ages. We have a medical center in Kennett Square and one in Oxford. And in between, we have a specialty care center in West Grove, which includes our dental center, our pediatric center, and our women's health center. We serve something like 8,000 unduplicated people a year, most of whom are Latino, most of whom don't have any other options for healthcare. So by coming to LCH, they find a warm and welcoming, compassionate place where they can get the healthcare that they and their family need to stay well. All of it is integrated with mental health care and social services. So if they need support beyond the medical, we can make sure that they get it in order to stay healthy. Right now, you could imagine it's an interesting time to be a health center. We're in the middle of the pandemic, so trying to provide all of the routine health services that our patients rely on to stay healthy. And we're also, doing COVID testing, and we've started to vaccinate our community. We were talking a little bit before the service about how hard it is to access vaccines. I think that pipeline is about to open up. So it's going to make us very happy soon. We've already given out 4,000 doses, and we're only going to be doing more. So it's a lot. What we're doing is a lot, and it's really, really needed. So thank everyone in this congregation for seeing the importance of what we do and the importance of the people that we serve and how entitled they are to compassionate care and the support of people like you that make it all possible. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Leanne, for that important work. That first online service a year ago was also a Share the Plate Sunday. It's the third Sunday of the month. I felt terrible about that. I thought, we don't have a plate to pass. And I didn't want the organization that we were supporting to be shortchanged, but I thought that was probably what was going to happen. And you came through. That ended up being one of the most generous offerings we've ever received on a Share the Plate Sunday. All through checks that you wrote and sent in. We were not yet evolved enough to have online giving. You just wrote checks. It was amazing. Now, we have evolved a bit since then. You can still write a check made out to UCWC with Share the Plate in the memo, or you can give online, or you can give by PayPal, or just mark your donation for Share the Plate. If, let us know how you want it divided. Send us a note. There are many ways to give. And we will now receive our morning offering for LCH and this congregation. for these gifts and for all that we give in so many ways to all of our communities. We are truly grateful. There's more than one way to carry the flame. We carry the flame for our congregation and families and schools and workplaces, community organizations like LCH. People like Manfred are carrying the flame for human rights and dignity. Groups like LCH carry the flame for marginalized communities. But we also carry a flame when we grieve. And there has been much to grieve this year. Grief is born of love. And my belief has long been that a part of the people that we have loved becomes part of us. It's not through any supernatural process. It is simply that they have helped shape the people that we have become. Death can't take that away. We will always have these people with us and inside us as we live in the world. We will always carry their flame, and we will always pass it to others whom we touch. The losses of this year have been enormous. So many friends and loved ones have died from COVID-19 or from other causes, and in this moment, we remember them. Some of you have sent names of those you are remembering today. You may also add names in the chat as we light a candle and remember in silence. We remember Adam, Bill, and Jean, Napoleon and Sekhmet, Neil Myers and cousins, Jim Bridgeford, Richard Najarian, John Pico, Bob Throne, Melanie Rosé, Wendy Pearson, Lester Tolt, Donald Clark, George Gibson, Ruth London, Stephen Spangler, Jean and Bill, and so many others. May we carry their flame today and always. Together we sing. Well, there's no question. It has been a tough year for all of us. But as we've already noted, there have been moments of inspiration. I have never in my life seen so much love and so much dedication and so much perseverance for so long from so many. It's the kids who have endured a year of school via computer screen or very different kinds of classrooms, who've stayed apart from so many friends for so long. And when you're 8 years old, a year is a big hunk of your life. Every one of our kids deserves, if not a medal, at least a very large quantity of ice cream. It's the teachers who have had to practice their profession in entirely new ways, learning new technologies and managing two classrooms at once, one online and one in person, all while enduring the cries of a few who say we need to get teachers back to work. They have been working. They've been working double time. It's those most vulnerable to the disease and those who live alone and those who have kept going through 12 months of isolation. It's our congregation staff, all of whom have had to learn to do their jobs in new ways and have stuck with it. I'm so grateful to Maggie and to Miriam and Jason and Cassie. It's artists and small business owners and musicians and all of us. And that's not to mention the nurses and doctors and public health workers and scientists who have carried their flame through exhaustion and fear and loss and uncertainty, or the grocery and food workers and cleaners whose low-wage jobs have suddenly gotten much more important and much more complicated. It's all of us. We had to create our own hope this year. And we did that. As hard as it's been, we deserve to be proud. Maybe let's all have that ice cream. There are a few images from this past year that will stay with me. One is the young man from Wuhan. Early on, back before this past year, back in January or February, who composed a traditional style Chinese ballad which translated to, "If I had known there was going to be a quarantine, I would have held my lover's hand longer." Or the K-pop hand-washing song, not to mention our own. You remember, "Come wash your hands with me." I still hum that every time I come in from going grocery shopping, when I'm washing my hands. Or the people in Tuscany, in lockdown, singing opera together through the windows of their medieval cities. The people of New York, banging pots and pans in gratitude when the hospitals did their shift changes. The people of the Black Lives Matter movement, who this year held very large demonstrations with very few health impacts because they were careful and responsible, even as they knew the cry of justice could not be neglected. The people of this country, in the middle of a pandemic, who voted anyway. Every one of you who learned new ways of doing, new ways of expressing love, new ways of learning. It's the holidays that we shared online that may have felt awkward, but were love-filled. It's all of us together. We have created our own hope, and every single one of us carries the flame. Every single one of you gives me hope. As I started working on this service, I began putting those thoughts into a song, which I give you now. Carry the flame.
toughest time you ever knew, the only thing that you could do was carry the flame. Sickness spreading through the land, you held your spirit in your hands and carried the flame. When storms and sorrows gathered round, you raised your head and you stayed your ground. You carried the flame. Through endless days of the hardest living, you kept on loving, kept on giving, you kept on and carried the flame. Carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky, keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know, let it glow. Carry the flame. And when the day is done at last, we take on the spark you've passed and carry the flame. From hand to hand we send it on, the kindling hope of a rising dawn. In a song we carry the flame. Carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky, keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know, let it glow. Carry the flame. We are nurses, doctors, teachers, we are children, parents, preachers, and we all carry the flame. We are scientists and cargo packers, farmers, singers, grocery stackers, young and old. We carry the flame. Carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky, keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know, let it glow. Carry the flame. Let it glow. Carry the flame.
So here we are. It's been a year and we are carrying the flame. We haven't always carried perfectly. We haven't always been gracious about it. We haven't kept every commitment or done it all well, and that's okay. I think it's important to recognize that because what we have been through and what we are going through has been hard. And we are very much, profoundly, beautifully human. Sometimes we expect a lot of ourselves. I hope that we allow ourselves to begin again as we slowly emerge over the next, I don't know how many months. I hope we recognize the power of the flame that we carry. I hope some part of it will always be part of our living, that it will make us wiser and more loving long after the pandemic is done. Now, in this moment, it's time to start over. Open your heart. You know there's nothing to forgive, starting now.
Now in this moment, it's time to start over. Open your heart, you know there's nothing to forgive. Starting now in this moment, it's time to start over. Open your heart, you know there's nothing to forgive. Starting now in this moment, it's time to start over. Open your heart, you know there's time to start over. Starting open your heart, you know there's nothing to forgive. Starting now in this moment, it's time to start over. Starting now in this moment, it's time to start over. Starting now in your heart, there's nothing to forgive. Starting now in this moment, it's time to start over. Starting now in your heart, you know there's nothing to forgive. Starting now in your heart, you know there's nothing to forgive.
That anthem is called Grace, and when I hear the choir sing, I feel grace. I also feel it when we lift up the sorrows and the joys of our community, and we begin in song, There is a Love Holding Me.
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding me. I rest in this love.
Good morning. My name is Fatima Patel. I'm a member of the pastoral care team and contact person for the month of March. A candle of sorrow for a friend who passed away on March 18th at the age of 68. She was a singer, pianist, flutist, and drummer. She was a pastor at Temenos, minister of the land, a voice for the wolves and all in need. Her presence will be missed. A candle of concern from a member who would like thoughts and prayers sent to their daughter who has been readmitted to the hospital after relapse of her chronic illness. And then a joy from a member who would like to wish everyone Navroz Mubarak, which means Happy New Year. Today is the Zoroastrian New Year. As always, a candle was lit for all the unspoken joys, sorrows, and concerns.
Please sing, There is a Love Holding Us.
rest in this love.
Together we enter the sacred space which is known by many names, and among these is meditation, and among these is prayer, beginning with a few moments in the community of quietness. God of many names and no name, Spirit of love, this past year has been one of learning and giving and deepening and grieving and growing and loving. It has also been a year of frustration and letting go of expectations, finding different ways of working and living and learning. It has been a year of carrying the flame, of creating hope and finding grace. We are blessed to have a faith community that supports us through times such as these. We're blessed in the knowledge that none of us is truly alone. Together, we will emerge once more. Amen. Blessed be. And together we sing, I know this rose will open.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open.
Add to the list of people who have kept us going this year all of our singers who have kept our voice musical throughout this year of online services. As we end our service today, I want to remind you, please do come, if you possibly can, please come to the town hall after the service. There's a link that I've just put into the chat, and there's also a link in the Sunday service announcement that you should have received, and connections. The board is going to present the draft mission statement and seek some feedback from you. May the flame that you carry guide you and light your way this day and always. Go in peace.